Hey ladies, it's Amanda. Welcome to the Feel Amazing Naked podcast. This is a show where we dig deep, get honest, and talk about all the unsexy steps it takes to meet your goals. Whether you want to get fit, eat healthier, make more money, start a business, or any other results you desire in your life. Most of all, this podcast is for women who are ready to feel amazing naked on the outside and the inside. So ladies, time to take it off. Welcome to the Feel Amazing Naked podcast, ladies. I'm so excited you're here, and I want to give a little context to today's episode. I did a 4-part series that I'm going to be sharing on the podcast over the next few weeks, all with regard to self-prioritization and breaking through some of the beliefs we have around putting our needs and our wants first while we still do all the things that are required of us inside our life. So I want to give this context because they were done on Instagram and Facebook Lives. So you might hear me refer to the comments or the chat box or people asking questions live. That is why that's happening. We're just resharing the trainings because they were so powerful and we got so many great pieces of feedback from ladies of the stories I shared and some of the aha moments inside of them. So I hope you enjoy today's episode. And without further ado, here we go. I want to share a little bit of a story as we get started. If you're new around here, something that you may not know, fun fact about me is I was a high school teacher for 10 years before stepping into entrepreneurship. I taught high school science, anatomy, physiology, and biology. Little did I know so much of that would lend to running a business and coaching all of my clients. But I remember when I was first year teaching, and one of the greatest struggles I had as a new teacher was trying to cram like everything that I wanted to teach into a 55-minute class period. So it was like, I had all these ideas, all these things, and, I'd spend a lot of time like mapping out my lesson plans. I then would arrive at the class where I was going to teach. I would start going, and all of a sudden these 55 minutes would fly by, and I never got to like the meat and potatoes, the juicy stuff, like the grand finale part, the peak of the lesson that tied everything together. I was feeling frustrated by this. I didn't really have a great answer at that point because you're also trying to manage, like at the time I had 40 high schoolers in my classroom, which is a huge class. So not only am I trying to manage them, I'm trying to manage emotions. I'm trying to keep the class engaged. And so I felt really frustrated. I felt like, man, the class never ends up going exactly how I want it. And I never seem to get to like the most important juicy stuff. And so I went to my mentor at the time and I was like, hey, here is my struggle. And so her response was this: well, you need to know exactly the times that you're going to spend on every single thing. So essentially what she said is time block the 55 minutes. Spend 5 to 10 minutes doing this, 10 to 15 minutes doing that, and, map it out step by step. And so I thought, yes, that's the answer. Time blocking. This will change everything in this 55-minute period. And so what I did is I went back to the drawing board and I started time blocking. I started putting things and saying, okay, this will take this long, this will take this long, this will take this long. Then I go back to class, go back with this new strategy of time blocking, and I start again. And guess what? I don't account for maybe the curveballs in the lessons, the questions kids ask. And I keep running into the same problem. I'm not getting to the juicy, most important, pertinent information that's the most, the highest priority for the kids to take away. And so I share this story because I also feel that this is relevant to how many of us live our weeks. And I don't know about you, we are taught that in order to increase productivity in our lives, in order to get shit done, right? To get all the things that we want in our life, just block it all out. Just set a time from the minute you wake up to the minute you go to bed and just time block. And I want to say, the caveat to this is time blocking is effective in some degrees. And I don't want to say it's not a great strategy, but there is something inherently missing when we are only time blocking standalone with no other work on the front end or the back end of what this should look like. And so while I love time blocking, the act of it, there's something that is completely leaving so many women just stressed out, burnt out, overwhelmed, and they're looking at this like laundry list of a week and not enjoying their life. They're looking at all the things that they have to do for the kids, for their spouse, for career, for entrepreneurs who are watching, for all the projects inside your business that you want to accomplish. And all of a sudden, what ends up happening is this almost like Groundhog's Day experience of life. We're just over and over checking the boxes. Everybody out there, when it comes to feeling better in your life, says the answer is time blocking. Yes, that is the answer, just like my mentor did when I was teaching. But here's what I realized. If I keep time blocking and I don't prioritize the juicy stuff in the lesson first and reverse engineer that component, then I'm going to experience the exact same thing in my lessons that I was teaching over and over again. And so this is where a lot of us struggle in our week. We make these long to-do lists, these checklists, and we throw them on the calendar without figuring out what matters most to us. We end up time blocking all the wrong things. We time block everything for everybody else. We time block appointments. We time block client meetings. We time block projects for work. And what we never end up doing is holding space to prioritize the stuff that actually matters to us the most. And so by the end of the week, and I'm doing this video on a Thursday kind of intentionally because some of you, you're ending your work week most likely if you work a traditional schedule. And some of you might be like living for the weekend. You might be going like, here's the words I hear. I just got to get through the week. I just got to get through the day. I don't know about you. That's not how I want to live my life. I want to find and experience like joy and happiness every single day. And it might be a work day. That's okay. But point being is you do all the stuff when it comes to time blocking and go through the motions. And the one thing that's missing, like I was missing in my lessons, is the most important part of the week, and that is often the stuff for you. So the week comes, you've time blocked everything else, except you're wiped out, exhausted, and actually you spend the entire weekend kind of like having to reset and recharge because you're so wiped out. What often is taught in traditional time blocking strategies is not to prioritize yourself first. Right? Because what happens is, well, if I put my workouts on first, if I map out time for me to cook healthy meals, if I prioritize like just doing something spontaneous and fun for myself, then that dreaded G word comes up of guilt because I should be doing all this other stuff over here and I really don't have space. I don't have time. I don't have time to put myself in. And that's why traditional time blocking doesn't serve us. Traditional time blocking doesn't say prioritize yourself first and then fill in the white space with everything else. Because what happens then is we actually feel good about ourselves during the week. We actually feel confident about ourselves during the week. We have more energy because we are working out, right? We're getting endorphins, happy juice. We're fueling our bodies. We're proud of ourselves. We're making promises to ourselves. And we're doing it with a strategy that allows us to follow through. This is where women struggle with confidence is they say they're going to do all the things. They say they want change. They say they want to feel better in their life, but they don't actually use a strategy to create the space to make it happen. I see this all the time is we're going to go add these things into our life, and yet we actually don't change our lifestyle to make space for them. This is the most important part. If you never work out and now you're like, I'm going to start working out 3 times a week and you haven't figured out how you're going to prioritize that, then it's going to work for a hot minute because there is this like newfound, you're in the pain of not loving how you feel in your life. And so you go do the workout for a little while and then all of a sudden you realize this isn't sustainable because I haven't actually created this space to show up and do it consistently. And so if you are somebody that is experiencing this, or in general, maybe you don't time block and you're like, I don't even know what you're talking about, Amanda. Time blocking isn't relevant. Then the message for you today is if you continue to go through your week and the thing that matters most to you that you feel like you want to experience in your life to make yourself feel more confident, to experience a greater level of happiness, to feel just better in your body, whatever it is if you keep pushing it off, like way off, if you keep pushing it back and then everything else gets here and you're chronically at the bottom of your to-do list, feeling exhausted, totally wiped out, overwhelmed, then the answer is there has got to be a reshuffle, right? There's got to be a shift to reprioritize. And I find from a lot of women too, like there's that constant dialogue in the head, like I know what I want, and yet I feel trapped in this life that I keep going forward because I don't want to slow down to speed up. And the question I have is, well, think about how you're feeling right now and think about a year from now if you don't make changes. Think about a year from now if you don't try a different strategy. Think about a year from now if you are still not even remotely towards the top of your priority list. What is that going to do for you? More exhaustion, more burnout, more overwhelm. And that's not going to lead you to that place that I know so many are working to create, trying to balance all the things that all the hats that you're wearing in your life, trying to balance all the roles that you play inside. And so this is literally the focus of the grounding day method I teach. It is helping you see kind of a big picture of all of the moving parts inside your life so you stop compartmentalizing everything into these separate buckets. Because your life is one thing. And when we learn to weave it together and we learn not to just time block our life away, however, we learn to actually prioritize our life so we're no longer just checking boxes, we actually end up with more energy and less overwhelm because we have clarity about exactly what needs our attention. And that's why the strategy of time blocking alone is not serving us. And while many time management, energy management experts use that as a strategy, I agree it's an amazing one, but there's a lot of stuff that has to be done before that so that time blocking your week is actually allowing you to feel how you want in your life. Women will say, I'm so good at time management. I time block. Every minute is accounted for. And yet they still feel like trash in their life, then the question is that really working for you? And that's where traditional time management and blocking strategies really don't serve us as women. I hope today's episode spoke right to your heart, and it's really about making yourself a priority without exception. No matter if you have a busy schedule, you have a busy life, you run a business, you work corporate, you stay at home with your kids, no matter what stories are wagering in your mind, the greatest way to feeling more energy and increasing your productivity and feeling just freaking awesome in your life is making space for yourself. And I want you to continue to do that inside of a free training that I am just kicking off. You can visit feelamingingnaked.com/more energy. And inside this free training, I'm going to do just that. I'm going to teach you how to have more energy, how to reduce the overwhelm that's taking place with all the things on your lists, and still be able to do all the things you desire with yourself at the top of your priority list. So again, come join my free masterclass at feelamingingnaked.com/more energy.